Hey, yo, Red.
What's up, man?
You remember the record?
What record you talking about?
Man, I'm talking about fucking Jump Around by House of Pain, dude.
Man, of course, man. That's old school classic, man.
Yo. Listen. What's up, Cornerstoners? My name is Johnny Warbucks.
Kalishnikov, right?
I'm here with Kalishnikov. We're in our 5th installment of Remember the Record. And today we're going to talk about the hit classic Jump Around by House of Pain, which was first released as a single back on May 5th, 1992. But before we talk about that, in honor of the recent passing of Trugoy the Dove, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence.
Yeah, of course.
Yo, I'm saying, man, Trugoy, dude.
Rest in peace, man. Rest in
Rest
peace.
in peace, man. Their soul will never be the same.
You know, it's an unfortunate thing, real quick. It just seems that, like, every episode.
I said this last night to somebody.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, so they were asking me about the format and stuff, and I was like, so, like, we do a moment of silence if anybody has passed away in the industry of significance, and it seems every episode.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, rest in peace to all the heads out there.
All the hip hop heads that made what we do and what we love possible.
Yeah, no, for reals.
Well, listen, before we start talking about Jump Around, man, I wanted to ask you what you've been listening to recently, man.
Well, you know, I always gotta keep Ghetto Boys up in my system, man.
And your playlist.
Yeah, man. Ghetto Boys, like, and of course, you know, House of Pain. I've been digging a lot of House of Pain, but not just this album.
Yeah.
And going into House of Pain, like, I gotta be honest, like, House of Pain has always been one of my favorite groups. So I'm excited about this one.
I honestly was just familiar with like a handful of different verses from Everlast and this one particular massive hit, right? And a couple of other joints, right? I've always loved House of Pain. I've always, messed with them, right? But this is the first time. So what I've been listening to recently is their catalog. I was just to get ready for the show, right? Like, I mean, a little bit of some of Everlast solo stuff, but just those main 3 albums, man. And and I'm gonna let you start this off, but I do want to just jump in and say, man, I mean, these sound like little underground fucking Cypress Hill albums, dude. Yeah, like, I mean, it sounds straight up like you could have put B Real in these records, man.
No, definitely.
It's for people who like Cypress Hill and you're fucking around and you think that Jump Around some one-hit wonder.
No, they got a story, man.
Dude, it's crazy.
It's really actually tight because, it so I got into like,
hold on. Before you start talking, my man.
Sorry, my bad.
I set him up because I was like, let's talk about it. We were gonna skip.
But we gotta follow this formula.
Hey, listen. We gotta talk about the stats.
We gotta think.
Like, what's happening about why this record, right? Why this record? All right. So look. House of Pain, Jump Around, recorded 1992, May 5th, 1992. As a single, it was released. The B-side was the House of Pain anthem. First album appearances, House of Pain, Fine Malt Lyrics, July 21st, 1992. It was released on Tommy Boy, which was founded in 1981, New York City by Tom Silverman. That's the guy he put on Stetsasonic, Africa, Bambaataa, Queen Latifah.
Yeah, Tommy Boy is always...
Tommy Boy's been around. This record, ironically produced by DJ Muggs, written by DJ Muggs with Everlast. They were the ones that wrote the whole record. Song is 3 minutes and 37 seconds long. Contains a couple of samples. We got Bob and Earl's 1963 track Harlem Shuffle, the intro. That intro of the song that you hear at the beginning. Right. 1961's Popeye the Hitchhiker by Chubby Checker. That's the dun 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 dun. That's a Chubby Checker.
That's tight.
That's a Chubby Checker record, man. And so, of course, the infamous now high-pitched squealing noise, which is actually heavily debated. It is believed that it might be the beginning of Prince's 1991's hit "Get Off," where he's
Oh, see.
So people argue about that was 1965's "Shoot Your Shot" by Johnny Walker and the All Stars, which cats like Questlove have insist that it's Prince, but the camp insists that it was a piece of that. But
well, I will say that Johnny Walker and the All Stars have always been incorporated with hip hop sampling. So
heavy.
I'm maybe.
But when you listen to it, and again, I always have a playlist on Spotify for the episode that you can go and check out, and you can just listen to it to yourself and ask yourself, which one do you think it is? Because I mean, DJ Muggs Muggs are debates that it's neither of those. That he created it.
But then
he did that the last time
with Cypress Hill
with that exact same kind of high pitched noise. He argues that it was him.
Yep.
So let's see here. You got shoot your shot. All right, and then Everlast has been once quoted saying that it was Divine Stylers Ain't Saying Nothing, which actually samples that Shoot Your Shot.
Yeah.
So the same riff.
Yeah.
The Noise is also heard 2 years prior to this album. The R&B group, New Jack Swing, Guy. Do you remember Guy?
Guy, yeah, I remember.
Gotta Be a Leader. That comes.
I had no idea.
2 years prior to this album.
Wow, that's interesting.
And then also and just wild stuff. So in the hook, you hear some of the sort of like these military sounds.
Yeah.
It's from Audio Fidelity Records, Pistol Range Military, which is just a random ass sample.
Damn.
During the hook, as well as scratches from DJ Grand Wizard Theodore and Kev Rockwell's military. It's called Military Cut Scratch Mix. So those you hear when he's in the hook, you hear some of the little switches. That's not Muggs. That's Grand Wizard Theodore.
Yeah.
I didn't know that shit either. I thought that was amazing. This song is a massive banger, right? It's been played at sport.
Hold on, real quick before it gets to that point.
You need to feed it.
Yeah, I had no idea about that.
The DJ Theodore?
Yeah, well, that and the sampling of the
military sounds.
Yeah.
If you go back and and find the clips, which I couldn't find on Spotify to put on Spotify, but if you go back and listen to them and you just hear these sample sounds, you can hear them in the hook, and you're like, what the fuck?
But now, as a producer, that to me is
it's
tight
because he literally that sounds like he just went and shopped around and picked up some sound effect vinyl, right?
Man, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you find the junks.
Or he just listened to this whole military Audio Fidelity joint. It's just crazy. So the song was a massive club banger. This is played at sports stadium events. This is used in commercials, TV shows. It's been used in films such as Miss Doubtfire, Bridget Jones, Baby, Jack Reacher, Black Hawk Down, Happy Gilmore. It's crazy. This song's everywhere, dude. All the college parties, they're still going on. All those stadium joints. As far as certifications go, this as a single and an album are both platinum records. These are both platinum records. No surprise there.
No.
On the charts, Jump Around hit number 3 Billboard Hot 100, number 5 on Billboard Hot Rap Songs, number 17 on Billboard Dance Club Songs, and top 10 in Ireland, Netherlands, and UK.
Of course.
So yeah. So this was a massive hit worldwide. It was a universal record that everybody gets into.
That's the beauty of hip hop, though.
This is so crazy.
You do it correctly anywhere in the world, you're like, oh, I know that song. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm getting at, dude.
So. It is what it is. I gotta say, House of Pain has always just been one of my favorites, and will always be one of my favorites. Because at the end of the day, it's always skill over anything else. You know what I mean? I gotta say that the time that House of Pain came out, there weren't too many white rappers out there.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And those. You had to be leveled with everybody else that was out there, which leads me into the story of how I got into, House of Pain and Everlast. So Everlast, I would say I got into House of Pain, right? And then I was in 6th grade because you mentioned that it was played in high schools and so on. So I was in 6th grade and at an assembly. And they play the background music, and some kid goes, House of Pain, and I'm like, yo, this music's amazing, right? And no, this wasn't 6th grade. This was actually 5th grade. Yeah, because we went to the same school in 6th grade.
Yeah, 92.
This is 5th grade. So they play that, and I was like, House of Pain, that's such a tight name. Like I would like write it down on my piece of paper, like House of Pain, House of Pain, House of Pain. So, you know, but then I was like, okay, I haven't heard of them before. I haven't heard them after. And then I got into Cypress Hill, and then I got back into House of Pain. You know what I mean? And then I started doing my research into House of Pain, which Everlast, you know, you go into the whole. What people don't know is that he had like he was in a group with Ice-T called the Syndicate before he was House of Pain, before he was anything else, and like that's how he started off. And if you see him then as to what he is
oh
now,
my God, I know. Syndication, the Knack, all of that, Everlasting. Like if you watch the videos, like the rhythm and all that stuff.
The rhythm.
Yo, the guy is got long brown hair and is seen wearing like look, this is the one right here. This is Syndication. Yo, he straight up didn't like he wasn't dressed like all the other cats in the room. He wasn't doing the big hip hop thing. He was the white guy, right?
And
so he wear suits.
He looked different.
Or he wear like trucker hats and t-shirts. Like he just looked like he got off working at a mechanic shop or something, man. Like he was just finishing doing construction.
And then so he was with Ice-T for a minute, and everything was going cool and everything. But then like he also had his homie, which was the DJ Lethal, and DJ Lethal had been friends with Cypress Hill. So like there's a connection between now, okay, Everlast and Cypress Hill and Muggs and so on and so forth. So when you hear Cypress's second album and you hear House of Pain's album, you're like, yeah, okay. It's got that.
They sound they are in the exact same wavelength.
It's got that, the feeling, right? That
it's just,
boom, boom, boom,
it's got that bluesy jazz dark.
Yeah,
like all of those different sound effects and shit.
All of that. So yeah, man. No, and then like I've always followed Everlast's career, and that's why I say to me, like House of Pain and Everlast are like I put them up there. I mean, a lot of people think it's cliche, a joke, whatever, but I don't know, man. Like I like his voice, I like his attitude, his lyrics. When you start listening to stuff outside of House of Pain, and even outside of like,
I would argue even like into that third album, he starts dipping.
Well, yeah,
like I know what you're getting at. Like he, he's a Muslim, and he is definitely more socially conscious than I think a lot of people realize. Because the beginning of it was just very much the Irish motif, right? Mm-hmm. It's just drinking, fighting, and having sex, right? And just rock and roll.
I'm the cream of the crop. I rise to the top, and I bite your pig as a pig as a cop. I better get it, Terminator.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Yo, try to play me out as if I was a singer. Yo, the lyrics are so good in that, and that's another thing too. Like when we're talking about this, first off, just a reminder: House of Pain is Everlast that we've been talking about. Danny Boy and DJ Lethal. That's the trio, right? Mm-hmm. The band was actually named after Danny Boy's former defunct punk rock group.
Okay, see, I don't know much about Danny Boy.
So Danny Boy was a high school friend. Everlast went to Taft, which was the same high school that people like NWA, like the whole crew was out there. Like he was in school the same time those guys were, right? In the same classes. But like his boy Danny Boy was went to that school too, and they partnered up. And he was big. He tried to have his own. He had a punk rock group, and the name of the punk rock group was House of Pain. And basically, Everlast was like, "Yo, what's this right here?" And he's like, "Oh, it's my old like group. It's like it's whatever." And Everlast was like, "Yo, we should use that though," because he himself was a massive fan of what is it? The Island of Dr. Monroe, the 1977 movie. Yeah. And there's this like horrible place that's called the House of Pain, right? And Everlast was feeling that, and so he was like, "If you're not using it or doing anything with it, we should use it." And that's how the band's name was formed.
I had no idea.
Yeah, they were homies. And I don't really know. I do apologize. I don't know a whole lot about Danny Boy outside of he was.
Yeah, and it's just he's quiet. Like he's not. We tried finding research on him. Like you don't find much. Yeah, like I
Well,
know
he himself is just, I mean, basically a hype man in the same way. And when I say hype man, it's more than that, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah, like
but Send Dog,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
Freaky Tah, like those guys rapped on those records, not all of the records. But in the live show, it's him that's like adding that fuel and that energy to each record, to each verse, right?
Okay.
Like he's doing all of that. But Danny Boy also is the guy who, once they split off and Everlast, became Whitey Ford and did that whole like rock blues rap thing. Danny Boy is the one that eventually formed La Costa Nostra.
Okay. Like Coca Nostra.
My bad.
Yeah,
Coca Nostra.
It's very, but see, that's the only thing that I actually just heard about him, and I've seen him in pictures, and there you go. This is their.
That's their logo. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a great fucking.
Yeah, that's a nice group, man.
That's a solid group.
Yeah, good beats, good music, good.
Cypress Hill and Cypher Realm show up on a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, man.
This dude Slain is pretty nasty.
A lot of those guys are nasty.
Yo.
Like I don't they do stuff with like the nonfiction heads too.
Well, so that's the other major person, and we'll talk a little bit more about him because it's just interesting how there is sort of a Kevin Bacon, 7 word places, whatever. Ill Bill. So Ill Bill is one of the heads of nonfiction. He also is one of the main artists in La Coca Nostra.
Yeah.
And he fucking bodies it on everything.
Yeah, he's
dude. Ill Bill is one of the nastiest rappers.
Forget about it.
We'll talk about him some other day.
Yeah, that's a different story.
I don't think I have any other side notes until we get a little bit more into the music itself, but we could talk a little bit briefly about the music video, just some of the stats, and then we'll just go back to just chopping it up. It was directed by David Perez Shadi, who was also the same guy who did Cypress Hill's Insane in the Membrane video.
Oh, there you go.
No surprise there.
Yeah.
He did Big Pun's I'm Still Not a Player. He did Onyx's Judgment Night, which was that rock rap hybrid album that was based on that movie that Everlast starred in.
Not a player.
Isn't that crazy? I thought that was really interesting. The music video basically starts out as outside of a church, as a coffin is brought in for a funeral. House of Pain performs after they enter like an Irish pub. The crowd jumps to the song. It was filmed during the 1992 New York City St. Patrick's Day parade. Portions were actually shot on the parade route, as well as in Central Park, the Old Town Bar and Restaurant. New York Yankees superfan and Yankee Stadium regular Freddie Schumann can be seen in the parade crowd, ringing his signature shamrock pan near the end of the video. Video ends with a dedication to the memory of Matt Champy, which is a friend of the band who died back in 1992. And I guess we should throw this in right now. So there was also, once again, what we have discovered throughout this podcast is basically every single song outside of Hey Lover and Renee has been a very quiet, low-key diss record to somebody or something, right?
Okay.
And so Jump Around disses Joe Nicolo from Rough House Records. All right.
Oh.
So what happens is that they try to shop their demo around, and they try to shop it to Rough House. And Joe heard it and tried to offer House of Pain some really shitty deals, so they declined it, right? But then, later on, I guess Joe apparently played this song for a very young, 15-year-old Jermaine Dupri, and told him to make a record like that. And turns around, and what gets released before Jump Around? What gets released before Jump Around?
Shoot, are you
Criss Cross's Jump?
Damn, son.
And so Everlast on the radio hears jump, 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 and he is fucking heated. And so he gets with the band. And basically, they're all like, well, we're going to look like assholes if we sit in here and start talking shit about some little kids.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
You know what I mean? And Jermaine Dupri, again, he was 15 when he made that record. Criss Cross were kids.
Yeah.
So he turns around and goes for the guy that, that really cut him dig.
Yeah.
And so at the very ending of the record, if you listen...
And I'm like, who is this guy?
He's like, yo, this is dedicated to Joe, the biter, Nicolo. Grab your Bozak, punk.
Yeah, I'm like,
right?
Who is this guy?
Who's he talking shit about? So the whole song is dedicated to the Rough House record crew because, but specifically Joe.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's just such a wild thing, dude. That like these disses are just there, and like we just don't we don't remember them.
But no, yeah. I mean, at that time, I wasn't old enough to realize. I'm like, I love Criss Cross and I love House of Pain.
Yo, I mean,
like,
that's another band, you know, it's one hit wonder that gets mad slept on. Criss Cross had some shit, dude.
Oh, they did.
I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
I missed the bus.
I do. I love him. Miss the bus. It's the bomb. Yo, the bomb was fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, man. No.
Yo, the Brad was on one of the records.
Yeah. No, we definitely got to go back to that. A lot of these cliche whatevers, they're not cliche, man. For the time that they came out.
I mean, when you're talking about a record that goes platinum, right?
Yeah.
And it's the only record that goes platinum.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that song, right?
Yeah.
It's Ice from Mix-a-Lot, right?
Baby
Got Back?
No, you know what it is?
He's got mad records.
You know what it is? Look, I'm putting it like this. I know this is straying off a little bit, but this is just what happens because it's a natural show.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice.
Okay? Oh, for sure, dude.
Ice Baby. I think he did the biggest favor to the hip-hop community. And you guys gonna be like, blasphemy. Burn him at the stake. Burn him at the stake. But because Vanilla Ice's song is known all over the entire goddamn galaxy, like everybody knows what hip hop is.
Yep.
So
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't.
For 1 minute, he was Michael Jackson.
Stop, collaborate, and listen.
And then as soon as you say, how many times has someone said stop?
And everybody's like,
and you just immediately, I gotta say it. You would be in the middle of a comment. No. You're like fighting with somebody, and they're like, no, stop. And you immediately, you're like, collaborate and listen.
Cuts like a ninja, slice like a razor blade. See, this is what I'm saying. He's a crap, whatever. But
dude, he had bars on that.
Man,
fuck off.
I have them in my head. That's how good the bars were.
This song in particular does the same thing. I mean, how iconic is this opening line?
Exactly.
Anybody that hears, pack it up, pack it in.
Let me begin. I came to win.
Battle me. That's a sin. Like you're gonna go right in. Like at least that part, you got those bars done.
And that just the first second of the song. Not even that bar.
Oh,
not even just yeah. It's like oh shit.
And even that controversial like
yep.
like that stays. And people either love that or hate it. Excuse me, but like, yo, it is crazy. I like in the video. How at the very like right when he gets ready to rap, and they're like knee deep in this pub, and there's just all these people, and like they slowly start to kind of move out of the way, and he's just in the party. He's like, pack it up, pack it in. He just like surfaces out of this party, yo. And honestly, like I think a lot of people, if they were listening to this and they didn't see the video, I don't think they would even known this dude was white.
Dude. Okay, which leads me to another. This is another blasphemy thing here. But to each their own, and I don't give a fuck. All right, I don't like Eminem. But
oh shit!
Oh
no, man!
Fuck Eminem.
Just lost 10 viewers.
Now listen, for reals, and it's never. And I don't want. I want to make this and all like put this across. It's not because he's white. My boy right here is one of the best MCs, and he's white. Everlast, Beastie Boys, Third Base, all these.
You mentioned Ill Bill, Necro,
all these people, man,
super dope,
are fucking amazing. But to me, I have my preference on Cadence, and I just can't get down. If there's a comparison between, if somebody was like, "Yo, here's House of Pain, here's Eminem, listen to them," or here's Everlast, here's House of Pain, listen to them. Which one am I choosing? I'm always going to Everlast.
So just to be clear, before everybody cancels this show and turns this shit off right now, I am not the voice of this man. Red, and I mutually understand that he respects him. It's like, so Tupac said it in a bar on the song "Crazy." You don't have to bump this, but please respect it.
Yeah, I mean
I genuinely believe that he respects the man as an artist and as a skilled writer, but as a person or as an entity or as a character. It's a picture. It's
his cadence, and it's just the shock value, like too much. Like I can get down with Necro,
which is like absolutely horrific.
But it's
that's shocking.
But this is the thing. Like,
listen to the hip hop.
If you listen to Necro, you're like, well, this is Necro. If you listen to Eminem, you're like,
Well, that's
Like that's not Eminem.
Oh my God.
Like that's just whatever. That's a gimmick. And then
Oh my God.
but like you said, I think he is one of, I have mad respect for him. I think he's one of the best lyricists out there. I just, again, I can't get down with
it's just not your thing.
with my
Yeah, no,
speed.
look, I appreciate it, man. I mean, I feel the same way about a lot of these cats that people really, really, really fuck with, right?
Same with me. A lot.
I know you and
A
I are
lot.
we're on the same page when it comes to somebody like a Jay-Z, right? Like we're
And
on the same.
blasphemy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, sometimes, man, it's just not your cup of tea, dude. That's just it. That's it. And it's all right to have opinions, man, but don't cancel us because the man doesn't like your favorite artist or whatever. It's no offense. It's none taken. And honestly, it just creates better conversations.
Take it personally, motherfuckers.
It creates good conversation in the comment section, dude. That's all it is, man. And honestly, can I just quickly also add, Everlast, I am sorry that here we go once again. Someone is on a show talking about you, bringing up fucking Eminem. Am I right? Am I fucking right, guys?
Well, but there's
When's it gonna stop? Well, so you were talking about the gimmick aspect, right? So what about this argument then? Because a lot of people are gonna go off. If you listen to the original Everlast, right? I'm talking Syndicate. I'm talking.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
You see this man. One, I mean, he doesn't put on any of the bullshit. He doesn't. He's not out here with like a gold chain. He's not out here like there's no appropriation happening. The guy is white and spitting bars, and he's around the people that he grew up with in Taft High School and beyond that, right? So like so just cancel that. But also the Irish motif, though. Let me argue about that because we know that Lethal is Russian.
Well, I think he's not. I think he's Slavic.
Slavic, my bad.
I don't know.
No disrespect.
I don't know.
My geography.
I know he's either Ukrainian, Russian, Lithuanian. Something
he's out there.
Yeah, like
he's old. He's older than you, but at the same, but he's not Irish.
No,
right?
He's not. No.
And so he's the DJ. He's the third slice of that pie that creates the whole Irish motif, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, ultimately, Everlast wanted to kind of dive into some roots and have something to kind of champion. And that's why they wanted to do that. And they like writing about, drinking, fighting, and fucking and all that stuff. And so it fits him, and it's already in his blood. It's in Danny Boy's blood. Dude's name is fucking Danny Boy. Yeah. Like there's nothing wrong with doing a little Irish from once in a while, man. And also but some people might call it a gimmick.
But see, I also think that let's and this is just my opinion. I mean, it's whatever, but New York, right? You got your Italian from talking about the white people. You got your Italians, you got the Jews, and you got the Irish.
Yeah,
those are like the major. Well, Jews aren't even there. Some people call them white, some people don't call them white. Let's just have them there just so we have a demographic, right? We have all three of those heads. Now, if you look at like the rappers of New York, like you have a lot of Jewish rappers in that grow and all these people that come from Brooklyn, right? And then you have like the Italians. I mean, I don't really know much where there is that motif besides like people that aren't Italian.
Right.
But the Irish, it was like the thing that was missing, I feel like, because you had your that whole Italian mob thing with everybody that wasn't Italian.
That's what it was, is that the embracement of Italian mafia culture in particular was 100% knee deep in New York music, particularly in the 90s.
Yeah, definitely.
All that Nas, all those.
But at the same time, you had that demographic where it's like a lot of Irish people in New York and Boston. So it's like, okay, let's have that exist. And it made sense for that to exist. So to call it a gimmick.
Well, so again, I'm not one of those voices because honestly, it's about identity, right? And what separates you from the rest of this crew. Like when it came, particularly when we were coming up in hip hop, you needed to be different. You needed to rhyme different. You needed to look different. You needed to have a different point of view. Nobody was trying to mend together and blend together or piggyback off of this one single and replicate it. And if they came close, people would talk about it and like subliminal shit. But for the most part, you weren't doing what a lot of these guys do.
And that's
today.
what you call a biter.
Yeah, because that was huge.
Yeah,
that's what again. I mean, this record alone, he's like, this goes out to the biter. Because they technically, I mean, Jump Around and Jump are two insanely different records.
Yeah.
However, in that moment, that's a bite.
But you
That's
know,
why Ice Cube and Cypress had that problem.
but you know, it's also
throw it up
interesting.
in the air, just as something as small as that.
Right. No, you're right. But it's so interesting because you hear a lot of that kind of extra sound in the early 90s when it came to hip hop. Like Chubb Rock, I had yo go.
Yeah, it was
go,
more like
go.
the
Like,
old school, like call
yeah.
and response, like you're supposed to be making a club record.
Yeah, so you had like the
You
jump
gotta
around.
wanna jump.
You had like all that kind of. I think there was more than Crisscross in House of Band.
There was definitely. I mean, again, Guy had. Well, that was that sound effect.
Yeah,
But there was a couple. There was like 2 other records that were hot at the time that had the whole jump thing.
Yeah,
and even on
it's like jump, baby, jump. But that's techno. But still, at that time.
Still,
at that time.
And then you have like Ice Cube when he did Predator. He did that sequel to what is that? The Nursery Rhymes and the Projects. What's the song called?
It's
we're messing that up. It's one of my favorite, and I love this
Fairy
record.
Tale.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like
Fairy Tale
Gangster Fairy Tale.
Yeah, something like that.
So they did a second one. So he does the second one, and in that one, he's like, "That's how the story should go." And the hook, he's like, he goes, "And everybody jump," and that's jump.
Yeah,
it's the exact same
it's
shit.
At the time, man.
It was just that time period, and that's early '90s. Like that's how you got people moving in the fucking clubs, man. It's like even though it's like this #1 club banger, and it still gets played at clubs and shit. It's all it does is get people on that dance floor and then gets them jumping up and down.
It's crazy.
They're not dancing yet. Then they throw on the dance.
Right. It's crazy how this song is timeless.
It's timeless.
It's
so
timeless,
fucking bananas.
Man. Like how old is the song now?
92.
92. So that's
30.
Yeah. So,
30 fucking years old.
And everybody still hears, "Oh shit!" Like,
yo, I was just talking about it with somebody earlier this morning. Like it's a song that right now college kids are wilding out to. Like it's getting thrown on at the wedding.
College kids at the wedding, at like the bars, at anywhere and everywhere, man.
When you watch any football game, any basketball game, this thing pops. Like it's just it's a staple of American culture. It's not even hip hop culture; it's American culture.
But that's how you see how it's the power of a song.
Yo,
like it can surpass its own existence. To
and why this one? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I love the video's not that great to me. Like it's not that it sucks. It fits the mold of what we're doing here. However, it's just like I don't know. There's so many way better music it is from that era. But like, and the lyrics are dope. But like, and the hook is.
But it's you remember the lyrics.
It's a bit of it. It's catchy parts of the lyrics, right? It's definitely that really infectious, love it or hate it beat with the that hits people, and then the very easy to capture hook. That whole jump around.
Okay,
shit.
So real quick, let's go. Let me just put this out there too, because this goes back to what you said something earlier. If you listen to House of Pain's album and you compare it to Cypress Hill's album, you're like, okay, it's pretty much the same. So Muggs worked on this song particularly at the beginning. And it was the same song, but with a different variation to it. So it wasn't.
I don't think it had that. I don't think that was there yet.
It didn't have like that. I think the drums were a little bit different, but it wasn't like a completely different song, right? So like Muggs was like he played it for like B.
Ice Cube. No, he played it for B Real first.
Yeah, he played it for B, and he liked it, but like there was just nothing that could have been like nothing came to their heads to like, and that happens to me too. Like I listen.
Sometimes you hear something, you're like, I appreciate that you really are into this, but I'm not feeling this.
No, it's not even. I feel it, but I just can't think of nothing to write to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I'm in the moment. I'm not feeling this right now in the moment. It's not that it's whack. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like you hear a beat and like you even if you're selling me on this beat, to write to it, I'm thinking my head isn't here. So you hear it, and it's kind of interesting to me because it does sound so much like an Ascendant. Right. Like you would imagine. You could even right now take both those records and swap them over their instrumentals. I know someone's done this.
Yeah.
Like, and you could hear that whole fucking thing.
Well, like I told you the other day, it would be awesome if you swapped the entire album.
I know, dude. Dude, that's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying just have it where it's just like Everlast rapping over that song and they switch it. But like you take pieces of it and you've got like some of Everlast on this song, specific song, and you got like there, but then you got the Cypress hook, and then or you know what I mean? You like you flip them all around. Like there's a way to mesh both of these things. I would call that shit House of Hills, man.
That's tight.
House of Hills.
That's tight. So going real quick, so like they couldn't come up with nothing, and then like they were like DJ Lethal had like he also heard it, and DJ Lethal was like he wasn't an MC guy, he was more the music guy, and then this is where the change happens to the music, and this is also when this is when it becomes a hit. Everlast and House of Man was like, yeah, let's do it, and boom, you have that. But like the Cypress, it originated from Muggs.
Yeah.
So that's why when you hear House of Pain, Jump Around, Insane in the Memory, Cypress Hill, you're like, okay. But each one has its own energy.
Yeah.
And each one has its own. It's you're like, yeah, it's cool. It sounds almost, but it's still two different songs.
Very different songs.
Yeah.
And very different motifs,
Mm-hmm.
very different kind of like, everything about it. But at the same time, sneak this in little party record, with something that I think at the time the hip hop community hadn't really seen on TV with the punk rock, almost rave scene from Be Real to the pub bar, marching,
Irish
motif from that one, from the House of Pain. Like it was at the time, it was truly unique. And what I do think is really interesting is that also at this time period, it was cool. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was not necessarily cool, but it was fine to be white in hip hop.
Yeah.
Like there was no
Snow the Unfold. Snow. Nah. But I can't even like.
In time.
He can do it.
Well, I will say that like groups like In Living Color, like their show, Jim Carrey, he went hard in the paint on both Vanilla Ice and on Snow, but Vanilla Ice in particular really got a bad rip off of what he did on that show. So the community did feel some type of way, but particularly with the Vanilla Ice thing, that's a whole other story. Maybe that might be another podcast, but
it's gonna be.
I know we're gonna end up talking about that record, but like. But ultimately, what I'm getting at though is that there wasn't this like, man, you know what I mean? Like they didn't have to dress a certain. They didn't have to like try to like appropriate, right? They didn't have to do that. They were just third base just looked like some New York white kids, right? Beastie Boys literally look like
Brooklyn Jewish kids.
Brooklyn Jewish kids, right? Like going to the house party. And Everlast 100% at the very beginning, he looked just like a white dude from LA.
Yeah.
And when he jumped into this Irish motif, like he just fit perfectly. He just fit it, And then there was no disrespect or idea of concept of theft or anything. It didn't matter. It didn't matter, and that just dramatically changed once people like Vanilla Ice materialized.
But it's.
And then it just permanently was that way until on a pop level, Eminem came out.
No, I think it materialized with Eminem, to be honest with you. Not Vanilla Ice. I know the reason I say this is because like when Vanilla Ice came out, granted it was rap, right?
It was a massive record,
but at the same time it was pop.
Yeah.
So you were like it was still more understandable, because you had MC Hammer at the time, and that was like the other version of Can't Touch
he got a lot of heat too.
Right,
heavy heat.
Right. So because it was pop, so you're like, okay, but then like when Eminem was just solely based on hip hop,
that did create a different. It was a different riff, though.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying. I do, and man, that is a whole other conversation, dude. But like, I think it was just different because like when you hear when House of Pain was out, like I don't think people talked as much about this.
No, not at all.
But not the way we do today.
Not at all.
And the fact that we're spending half of this show talking about it is because of it is sad.
Yeah.
It's just a sad state. As far as like some of the lyrics in this record, I already said it. I think that opening bar, that pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. I came to win, battle me. That's a sin. That shit goes so fucking hard. But and I think it's the second verse where he's like, "Word to your moms, I came to drop bombs. I got more rhymes than the Bible's got songs." That bar is fucking tight, dude.
Yes.
I love that. Yes. I don't care what anybody's saying, man. I got more rhymes than the Bible's got songs.
That bar spurred off so many different bars in my head, all my history and writing. Like
it's just it's a sick reference too, because
you gotta know, you know,
seeing,
if you know, you know.
You're seeing the layers of like where Everlast is going to transcend into what he kind of focuses on.
You know what mine's always
which one?
The better Terminator than a pig in the cop, or the pig the now
you fucking it up, man.
This
is why
I have to start from the beginning. It's like I'm the cream of the crop. I rise to the top and never eat your pig. I never eat your pig because a pig is a cop. Better yet, a Terminator like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Try to play me out like if my name was Sega, but I ain't going out like no punk bitch. See, like all that
whole part right there where he's like, and I might switch it up, you down,
yeah, man.
That's so is that the third verse? Yo, it's the third verse. So so when I was writing down like highlighted lyrics, what did I write? I wrote the two I just shared with y'all, and the third one, the entire third verse. I don't give a fuck, because the way he flips that shit,
yeah, man.
That part, and then also that, and then just like how, like, I don't know why, it's just so head nodding. He's like, I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to get you.
Spitting out lyrics
on me, I'll wet you. Fucking
so
so good, dude. Like, it just makes you go like this. And it's just so, there's a lot of switches that Arnold Schwarzenegger referenced. The way he did that shit was so dope. And I read somewhere that he was the first cat to mention John McEnroe on
I've never heard it.
Did you know that?
Until I heard his name, I was like, wait a second.
The tennis player.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it's like I didn't know about that until I watched the movie with Shia LaBeouf. I don't know if you ever seen that movie.
Which
McEnroe
one?
versus.
Oh, word. Oh, does he say something about it?
No, it's the whole McEnroe, like his story.
Oh yeah.
So
I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Oh,
So I was like, after that, I was like, wait a second, where have I heard this before? And I was like, oh shit, now I understand it. You know what I mean? Now I understand it. No. And that's, if you watch the movie, you'll understand why he says that.
Dude,
because John McEnroe was crazy.
Yeah, he was wild.
He was crazy.
He was the bad boy of tennis.
Yeah.
Like, he was,
and when we say bad boy of tennis, people are like, no, watch the fuck.
Yeah, no, I know that he's a wild cat. Man. But yeah, it's where he's like, I'm smacking the hoe. Like, yeah. Hey, Magaro, hey, what a guy. What a character, dude. Yeah, dude, it's such a great record, dude. Everything about it, from the beat all the way through the hook, it's timeless. That album is stupid. I know we're approaching that time, and that's why I'm kind of like getting a little like fuzzy, because I don't want to fuck around and spend too much time, because I know that once we get into these games, we might have a little bit to talk about. So I'm kind of willing to jump right into that if you're down.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. Since we
still got some stuff to talk about through those,
these verses in particular, I think there's some conversations here. So one of the first things we're gonna play is singles only. All right, singles only. Aside from the hit single "Jump Around," what other chart-topping single is your favorite by House of Pain, and why? So the singles that they have, and see, unlike the LL Cool J one where I had to show you a Bible, chapter verse here, I got just a handful of tracks for these cats: Shamrocks and Shenanigans, Who's the Man, On Point, It Ain't a Crime, Over Their Shit, Fed Up, and then that Jump Around 2000 mix that had Damian Marley and Mayhem Lauren on it.
Okay, if you're asking me, then I gotta say Shamrocks and Shenanigans.
That's such a fucking great.
But I will say that's
a boom, shot boom.
But I will say that a lot of those, like On Point.
That's my pick. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I love On Point.
But the Damian Marley one, I heard it. Not a fan.
Yeah, you kind of turned me. I was disappointed. Well, again, we're comparing. You have no choice.
Yeah.
But to compare it to the original, you're always. That's why you said you didn't really necessarily fuck with the Pete Rock remix.
Yeah, I didn't follow the Pete Rock remix.
Dude, I thought Pete Rock came on that. I thought the beat was tight. It's definitely a very different vibe, and it was never.
It's not bad.
It wasn't meant to be what the actual song is.
What it
you know what I mean? This isn't a club anthem. It's a street version.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's not bad, but it's just not the same, and it doesn't. You
play one at the house party. You play one driving to the house.
No,
party.
I play the same one. You play yeah, man. Like, it's that because it's the energy. It's the thing that makes you want to jump.
Dude, I thought Pete Rock came with that.
Like, I mean, it's not bad, but it's just like
his verse is tight on that.
Like, it doesn't make me want to jump.
No. Well, what's the fucking point?
If I'm listening to Jump Around, I want to jump.
Okay. But you think Shamrock and Shenanigans?
That beat is between tight. On Point and Shamrock, man. I can't.
On Point, dude. Straight Up and Down has such a grimy vibe, and it's still like a party joint.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Because I'm the man, I'm on point.
But see,
Dude, his voice is so different.
But like a lot of those songs, like going back to Cypress, is like and their samples, like the JB's like boom, 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 boom. Like it's a lot of party like shit. I mean, shit that makes you go like this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. Either you're in the group jumping up and down and talking your shit, or you're literally just head nodding while you're at.
That's the beauty of all of House of Pain. So when you're telling me this is also like a party, it is.
No,
all of them
because just the way that the energy from that hook. I mean, the rest of the record itself is just kind of like a bar spitter, and he's just spitting verses, and it's like it's head nod shit.
But still,
when once he gets in that hook, and he's like, "I'm on point, I'm the man," like you can't help but be like, "Fuck
yeah, man, no, it is.
That's my shit."
So I go for those two. I mean, I could choose one, but I can't choose.
Those are the two big ones on this. I like Who's the Man too. Who's the Man?
Yeah, I like that one too a lot too.
You know what I noticed on his shit? Everlast really fucks, and I gotta find out if there's actually a relationship there. He really fucks with Milk and Gizmo. Like he references them several times. Top Billin'. Milk is killing. Gizmo killing. What more can I say? Top Billin'.
Yeah.
He samples them at least 3 or 4 times. He mentions Giz in a hook on one of these records. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, that's something to maybe look up because like you're right. Now that I remember that, you're right, and I think he even samples them in like later albums. Like on the last album that they put out, he's on that one. I Don't Care. Yeah,
he's talking about.
Is that what Saturday X? No, that's not what Saturday X.
I don't care. I don't care. Like he keeps using that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what record that is.
But he does use the sample a lot of.
And he mentions Giz on one of the hooks. He's like Giz, and I don't remember what the reference is. Guys, this is the beauty about this podcast, man. We want you to start digging into this shit like we do because there's a lot in there.
Yeah, man.
Which brings us to the second game. Here's the deep cuts. All right, so the deep cuts, aside from the songs that garnered those chart positions. And or music videos. What is your favorite record off of House of Pain? Fine Malt Lyrics. So we got it's a larger album too. So we got Put Your Head Out. That's Hand on the Pump Part 2 with Be Real from Cypress Hill. Top of the Morning to You.
That's it for me right there.
I can stop right here. Collaborate and listen. That's it for me. House of the Rising Sun.
Both of those two are it.
That shit is so tight. The House of Pain anthem, which is the B-side to this single. Was dope.
Yeah,
I thought with Danny Boy's record.
Yeah. See.
Guess Who's Back? Put Out Your Shit Kickers is a fucking great like fighting record. Come and Get Some of This. Life Goes On. One for the Road. Feel It. All My Love. Which from this point in all his records, he does like a dedication track.
I love that All My Love.
Yeah,
like that sample, whatever the music behind that.
So in the second one, he's like, I got more love to give. It's so cool, dude. Jump Around, the Pete Rock remix. You say boo. I say, come on now. What, Shamrocks and Shenanigans, the Butch Vig remix? Did you like that?
No,
I didn't really feel that.
I didn't like that. I like the original.
I was just like, whatever. I was like, this is cool. There's a lot of stuff like this where I hear these like remixes where I'm like, I like this, but it's just
Lost Boys was one of them.
Lost Boys, big one. There's Cypress Hill, a lot of their shit, like they're on that unreleased revamp joint.
Yeah,
the remixes are like whatever.
Yeah,
I very, very rarely hear a remix and go, holy shit.
Well, there were I think 1 or 2 that was just like, yeah, I like this one better. I think that do
that's the original Hand on the Pump.
Yeah.
So this song, Put Your Head Out, that's the sequel to that record.
Okay.
That?
No, I didn't. It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Like I hear.
And you don't hear like any pieces of that outside of just Be Real's voice.
Right. But it's.
I put your head out. I put your head out.
It's got that. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. So
that's the parenthesis. It's a Hand on the Pump Part 2.
For me, it's got to be Top of the Morning. I do like that. I like the beat. I like everything.
Top of the Morning to You. It's so fucking Irish.
But I also like House of the Rising Sun because
Sun Doobie kills that.
And then that's the other thing.
That's like one of the best features.
Like, yeah, and that's another artist.
I think
that
his feature. I think his feature is better than B Real's.
I think so too. And he's got that good flow that contrasts with Everlast. It has that good, like, Everlast. I'm the cream of the crop. I rise to the top. And then Sun Doobie be like, I generate power, the power. Cowards in the album.
Who got the beautiful flowers?
So it's like it's got this.
They're deep, but they're just different enough.
Yeah.
They could have made a group.
It would have been tight.
I would have been a hot little crew.
It would have been tight.
All right, so with the deep cuts, I'm telling you guys. I mean, when you go back and listen to my playlist on Spotify, we have the whole album on that as well as the singles, and you just need to revisit this record, dude. It is really good. As a matter of fact, going back to it, I was just so fucking refreshed. I was like, wow, this is a really good fucking album that people slept on because they've only heard this one.
And then you want to go to the next album.
That's what happened to me.
And then you want to go to the next album.
Which makes it very easy for me to introduce the third and final game. This is always a little bit more of a fan favorite. We're going to do the verses. Time for the verses. Verses number one, easy. Well, not easy, but this is probably the hardest one, I think. Fine Malt Lyrics, verse Same As It Ever Was, verse Truth Crushed, The Earth Shall Rise Again. These are the three House of Pain albums. Which album is the best of the three, though?
Oh, that's the best.
The best. The first one has the Jump Around record, and it has your favorite single.
Okay. I'll get to this. All right, you're right about
put the sound of the second one.
And okay, but I have to go actually to the last one.
Yeah.
The last one, and the reason I go to the last one is because you see the maturity of Everlast.
Truth Crushed, The Earth Shall Rise Again.
And this is where it's interesting. Like
Saw That X has a killer feature on that.
Guru as well. And I had gone to Ecuador to visit, and I went to a music store, and that's where I saw this third album. And I was like, oh shit, House of Pain has a third album. Let me check it out. And I ended up getting it. And I came back to the United States. And, back then, CDs, how easily they got fucked, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I had the album for the longest time. It got fucked. And I went to Tower Records. For years, I couldn't find that album.
Dude.
Never found that album. Ever in the United States. And I don't know why. And then when it got to streaming, I was like, oh, there it is. So if you listen to that last album, you hear the progression of Everlast. And you see, you, like, understand. You start to, like, understand where he's going with the rest of his life musically.
Oh yeah, I mean, you definitely see the cut. Like, I mean, vocally, he still has that really dark, heavy shit from his second album. He doesn't start to sound like that Whitey Ford. I'm not talking about the singing, but like the way he vocally sounds
and his mentality.
You know what I mean?
His mentality,
like the way he raps. Like, oh yeah, like on Eardrums Pop, which we'll talk about briefly. In a moment, but like where he's like, I gave up. I read the New Testament and gave it up for Lent. Just one bar says so much about who he's become, right? It's
because he almost died.
Yeah, he had that heart attack
at a really young age, and
20s,
that shook him. And from that point on, he slowed down on the drinking, the smoking, and got more into like the elevated. I'm not saying he's a saint. But at the same time, he's not
eating healthier and being more spiritual about his mind, body, and soul. No, dude.
And I love seeing progression, to the better for everybody.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, you don't want to. I mean, as much as I love like some of these older records by people like Cypress and Eminem and those cats, they're train wrecks about ready to happen until they find their mark, right? And stuff like that. Because otherwise, you end up with those tragedies. You end up losing cats. But all right, so that one I knew that would be an interesting one because it is those are three really solid albums.
Yeah.
So now how about this one? I think this one we kind of tapped in on, but what about House of Pain's Jump Around versus Cypress Hill's Insane in the Brain versus Criss Cross's Jump?
That's damn.
What's the number one record out of those three?
God.
What's the number one record out of those three? This isn't a hands down conversation.
This is hard for me
because all three of them are super fire.
But I don't care what people say. Criss Cross, I Missed the Bus, and everything like that. Like that was good stuff. Now, to have them calibrated equally as Cypress and House of Pain, I would say no.
Yeah.
So take those them out. Now you
Something told me that they were going to get at the bottom.
Now you have Cypress and House of Pain.
We're basing off of the merit of these songs, not these artists or these albums.
Oh, okay. Merit of the song.
What's the song? Which one are you throw that shit on?
Okay, if I go to internationalism, then it's gonna be House of Pain. If I go to my favorite, it's gonna be Insane in Membrane.
So, which one's the better record? Your best.
Both were disses. Both have the same kind of like energy. Both have like the same kind of like feel with the video. Oh God, what are you doing to me, you rat bastard?
It's fucked up. I knew this one would be hard, dude.
I'm just gonna have to go with Cypress.
I'm gonna go with Cypress on that one too. That was a really
that hurts me. That hurts. That
because you like gotta kill the other two. Picking your favorite child.
God, man.
Dude, I love all three of those records though. Like I still listen to those records.
That's a good verses, you son of a
that one stuff. This one is the controversial. I just did this just to do this. So which one's better, man? Eminem's "I Remember" and "Quitter," or is it Eardrum's "Pop" remix with Everlast on the record and Whitey's "Revenge" dissing Eminem? Which one? What are the better records? Which ones are the better records?
Eminem.
Who came harder?
Eminem.
Who came harder?
Eminem.
Who came harder on that diss? Who came harder on that?
It doesn't matter who came harder to me. All right, it matters who comes harder with the voice, with the cadence, with the attitude, and that's fucking Everlast.
Everlast win that battle?
To me, I like. Look, lyrically.
Don't cancel the show, guys.
Listen to me. When you battle somebody, okay, you can do it lyrically, and you can do it. But if you just stick to the lyricals and don't come with the energy, don't come with the rugged, don't come with the street, don't come with that whole feel, doesn't matter to me. You got to come with everything. You got to come with everything, and then this could be an ongoing debate between me and him. I don't see Eminem coming with the street. I don't see Eminem coming with that feels. I see Eminem coming with lyricals, and he beats Everlast in lyricals. But Everlast comes with everything else.
Dude.
So I go with Everlast.
I remember he completely takes the entire Whitey Ford thing and emulates it on one song. And you know what? Doesn't even sing.
And you know what?
He doesn't even sing.
Sounds like shit.
Well, how do you feel about Whitey Ford?
No, and Whitey Ford doesn't sound like shit. like I'll listen to Whitey Ford.
Dude, I think I Remember sounds just as good as any of those records.
No.
I remember. It sounds just like that. Then you really know what it's like. Bro, you are tripping.
No, he sounds like
I wonder how many people tried to beat up Everlast while he's walking down the street because this dude said,
no, fuck that.
On Twitter, he's like, if you ever see Everlast, whoop his ass. Just throw shit at him. Do it for hip hop. This shit is so good.
That's
dude.
blasphemy.
That's so good. The way, dude, that diss record has got me crying.
So what? No, I gotta give it to Everlast.
All right.
Till the end of the day.
What do you guys think? I want to hear some comments in the comment thread, dude. This one's a little softball throw. We got Whitey Ford versus Kid Rock, the two cats that were doing a lot of hip hop shit that kind of went into that country folk bluesy shit. Who did better with that?
I gotta give it to Kid Rock, man.
You're fucking lying through your teeth. You're lying through your teeth.
Nah, man. Of course, Everlast. Kid Rock. You never really
fucked with him, though, right? See, so I was totally into that. What was it? Devil Without a Cause. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
There's a bar with a bar, the bang, the dang, diggy, diggy, jazz. You know that hot ass record that I fuck with hard.
Now, if you want to talk about that, then talk about that techno group with the country, Cotton Eye Joe. I'd rather listen to Cotton Eye Joe than fucking
no. That's blasphemy.
No, you can make a tight hip hop beat off Cotton Eye Joe.
Stop it, dog. Stop it. Yo, I don't know, man. I mean, ultimately, when it comes to that sort of shit, when I'm listening to these artists, I listen to way more Kid Rock than I did Whitey Ford, right? Well, as Whitey Ford, I didn't really. Then you really know what it's like.
Motherfucker, listen.
But today, Stone in My Hand.
I put it like this. Okay, Stone in My Hand is amazing.
One of the best records I've heard.
I put it like this. Okay, I don't give a good goddamn fuck who Eminem has featured or has been featured with, or who the fuck anybody that this is fucking Everlast has been featured with or featured on. None of them have featured with Santana.
Well, that record is fucking dumb as shit.
You go when you get to Santana.
Is that Turn On the Lights? What was that record called?
No, I want to say
Turn Up the Lights.
Yeah, turn up or turn on, one of those.
Dog, that record is fire.
But when you get to that point, then talk to me.
Okay.
Man, get the fuck out of
Kid
here.
Rock get no love.
Nah.
So we had earlier briefly mentioned a cat named Ill Bill, right? This dude has somehow spiderwebbed his way into some stuff. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of talk about those super groups briefly. So we got three groups. We got La Coca Nostra. That's Ill Bill, Everlast, Danny Boy, Big Left, and Slain. We got Nonfiction, which is Ill Bill, Gore-Tex, and Sabac Red. And then we got Circle of Tyrants, Ill Bill, Gore-Tex, Necro, and Mr. Hyde.
Okay, take the Circle of Violence out because I haven't heard that.
Dude, that shit is pretty fire.
That sounds amazing. I haven't heard.
I'll have to get you on that. That's a dope ass album.
But you might want to replace that with the Pharaohs one.
I felt like that was cheap because Ill Bill is he is in Army of the Pharaohs, but that's almost a gimme. If I have these three listed right now,
that's true.
I'm gonna go Army of the Pharaohs 100%.
Yeah.
Ill Bill is nice.
Yeah.
But like, that whole shit.
That whole squad, right? No, okay. Out of those, then we got Nonfiction. I got La Coca Nostra.
It's these two.
Man, I love you, Everlast, but Nonfiction's for me. Man.
Yeah, I think I got to do Nonfiction over La Coca. I love what Ill Bill with Everlast did with La Coca. But like those are dope ass records, but and honestly about the same amount of records too. Like Nonfiction only had like 2 or 3 albums tops, and one of them was a mixtape, and then like La Coca had 1 or 2 albums tops, right?
Right, and just real quick, it's like one little side note: Sabac Red. Guess who inspired Kalashnikov Red?
Dude, that's kind of wild. I'm not surprised because that dude's motif is right up your fucking wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Sabac Red is nasty.
He's fucking nasty, man.
That first album he put out on his own after Nonfiction is like
what was
study guide.
Black Helicopters?
That was on Nonfiction. That was The Future Is Now. That was as Nonfiction.
Okay.
So Sabac Red.
But he had
a change will come.
Yeah. There you go.
He's got stuff where he's talking about the AIDS epidemic. He's got stuff where he's talking about like the revolution. He's talking about politics.
Well, all of them are really smart, man.
Yeah.
So.
It's a really thoughtful album.
And the other thing that I give for Nonfiction, as opposed to and again, DJ Lethal, I love you, and DJ Lethal is another guy we got to talk about.
Because we should have given Lethal a little bit more time today. I think.
Because also he did the stuff with.
Well, he started eventually working with like Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit. I always get Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit mixed up.
Oh no,
that's
Fred Durst.
Yeah.
That changed the entire gamut of hip hop on a pop level. Dude.
Yep.
I mean that crossover.
Because from there you get Limp Bizkit. You know what I mean? From there you get the other groups, the PODs, the
whole new metal scene, right?
Korn, Linkin Park, all those
cats, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like DJ Lethal.
I mean, he changed the entire platform of this industry in the span of a couple years.
And I wish he was known more for doing such a big contribution to the hip hop community and letting it grow like that.
I think most people that understand it recognize it and appreciate it. Regardless of how you feel about those bands, man, but because that moved the needle, and once that needle moved, that's when shit started shifting over. You started seeing, those albums where cats were working with rock and roll artists.
Because
just
prior to that, you had Aerosmith, but
that was the first one,
and that stayed the only one for the longest time.
Onyx had one.
Yeah, you had your little,
and then that Judgment Night that Everlast started. That soundtrack was definitely that was the setup.
Right, it had.
But it's also one that people forget about.
It had like Sonic Youth, it had Cypress Hill, it had Onyx, it had
Pearl Jam was in there.
Pearl Jam. The Sepultura, I want to say, I think, but yeah, like you had like that album's another one to check out.
I think it's an important piece of hip hop culture because that brought outside of obscurity.
And those songs are good. Those songs are good. Like
it's the album is better than the movie.
And I honestly, like, I'm not a fan of new metal like that, but I do give it its props. Look at him. But I run some reps like that's my shit, man.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so that was the last of my verses, man. I knew that one would be kind of a conversation piece, and and shout out to all of those cats, man. Necro, Ill Bill, La Coca Nostra, Nonfiction, and Circle of Tyrants. It's all good shit.
Just real quick, I want to put the emphasis on. We didn't talk much about it, but for anybody and everybody out there, look into the beef between Eminem and Everlast. We did talk about it, but we should have gotten a little bit more. Time-wise, it is what it is. But look into that because it's a really interesting beef. Like I said, I side with Everlast all the way.
Spotify doesn't have his verse.
Oh,
he doesn't have Whitey's Revenge.
Look, you YouTube it.
Because I would have I didn't want to just only have the Eminem disses on there because that seemed disrespectful to the playlist.
Yeah.
Eardrums Pop remix is available. I just didn't want to put it on there because Eardrums Pop, Everlast, it's a subliminal,
Yeah.
And it's like a couple of lines in a song with a bunch of cats, whereas like Quitter and I Remember are solely dedicated.
But that and some features also that we're gonna go into later down the road. I'll just say it has something to do with like a storyline. Prince Paul, I mean, he had Everlast played a great officer.
Was your officer O'Malley?
He's like, I'll lock you up. I'll put you in jail with the handcuffs and you screaming like you in hell or something like that. But it's fucking tight.
This is a project that we're thinking about doing where we're gonna, instead of just remembering a song from a record, we're gonna dissect a record track for track, storyline for storyline. We'll that's the gem that I'll leave on that. That's not what's happening next.
No, not next. This will be down the road.
That's down the road.
And also, you gotta check out the Woo, man. The Woo series for real.
Dude, that show, dude.
Me and Mariah.
Oh, Vegas about
That's what I'm saying, man.
As of this recording, the ODB episode is super controversial amongst our people. They love it. They hate it. They think it's a waste of time. They thought it was a great delve into ODB psyche. Definitely that new Woo series, bro. Like those first 3 episodes as of this recording. I mean, by the time you see it, we'll have seen it all. Yeah. But definitely, if you haven't seen, we might even do a fucking episode just about that show, dude. Like, that's worth it. That's hip hop shit. Be sure to check out It's a Party Over Here on Bandcamp, Johnny Warbucks. Again, thank you for listening to the show. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share this video with others that you think might be into hip hop or want to have a conversation about hip hop from 80s, 90s, and so on. And Spotify, Remember the Record, episode 5. This is Everlast. This is House of Pain. Jump Around. You can just look that up and follow my shit too, man. I got a lot of great music on that Spotify page, dude. Johnny Warbucks. What about you, man?
Collision the Cough Red and streaming all the streaming sites, platforms, whatever. I will say we might have a little bit of something we're working together on musically down the road. So keep an eye out for that.
Always try to do some new music, man. And when I get an opportunity to, I do it. And there is something that's pretty interesting right now. That sounds like it might make that spark happen. We'll see.
And then also check out the Rappers Corner. We've been kind of slacking on that, but we're getting back into it. We just needed more guests, so now we have one coming up next Sunday. So next Wednesday it should be out. So keep an eye out for that. And check us out, talk, share everything. And for reals, like, if you guys ever want us to cover anything, man, just let us know.
Put it in the comment section, man. Let us know what records you want us to cover, and as long as it's feasible for us with the topics at hand, and it fits into our mold and our what we're talking about, we'll 100% talk about the records that other people want to hear being talked about. We'll talk about them.
But we're always gonna stick with ours as well too.
We got a catalog, dude. Man, a lifetime catalog. We could do this show. We could do a daily show for an entire year, and I swear to God, we'd have enough material.
We cover like just the
surface of what we got, dude. We go really deep into this. These are all the big pop ones that we're starting with, because we want to make sure that heads have access to our material, and the way to do that is to get into familiar territory for people.
But we're gonna be having
We'll be
fun.
branching out.
We're gonna be having more fun with this show here, because we're also gonna be going into a little bit more hip hop based stuff that branched out into some R&B stuff,
R&B stuff, into some DJ stuff, and it's into some other media stuff, man. Like, I mean, just there's a lot to look forward to on this show. I hope you guys enjoyed this one.
Yeah, maybe like down the road we could talk about like even some hip hop movies.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's exactly what I was getting at. I feel like there's plenty of movies that we can talk about. There's references to certain video games we could talk about. There's certain experiences, like, if we ever go to the hip hop museum, that we can talk about. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Like those are all things that can go down that we can share here. For next month. That's April, right?
It is what it is, man. I'm excited for next month because it's just another day for me.
It's just another day for you, man.
It's just another day.
Yo, man.
And that every day is exciting for me. So
all right. So April, man, maybe we'll figure something out. Treat it like it's just another day. Let's see what we talking about. All right, now.
Yes, sir.
Guys,
check us out, man.
We out.
Peace.